Hey everybody, in today's video I'm going to be teaching you a Dr. Popular trick. It is called Casper Slack, and this is what it looks like. One thing before starting this trick, we want to make sure that we have nice neutral string tension. This will just help with the slack portion of the trick and it'll make it a lot easier to perform. Okay, so the first step is to just throw a breakaway. And once we get into this breakaway, we're going to want to take our throw hand index finger and kind of curl it under our finger. So if you're right-handed, we're going to the right and we're curling it to the right of that string and putting it under just like that. So what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to get set up for the whip portion of this trick that looks like that. And how we're going to do this whip portion is once we get this index finger placed under to the right of that string, we're going to kind of pop the yo-yo up and bring our throw hand in a clockwise motion. And when we bring our throw hand in this clockwise motion, we are going to notice that the yo-yo is going to pop up, and also the string is going to create these kind of two strings, just as if we were doing something like a hook. It's going to create these two strings, and we want to land the yo-yo into the back half so it looks like that. So I'm going to do a little, I'm going to like pause the video and put a few arrows to where I'm saying, but we want to land the string, the two strings that whip over. We want to land the string that is farthest away from us into the back half of the yo-yo, so the half of the yo-yo that is faces closest to us. So as we whip, it's going to go into the gap like that, and I'll do a quick slow-mo. And so we want to land it into this back half of the yo-yo. If we land it to the front half, it's going to get us into a mount that looks like this, which is the wrong mount. So if the mount looks like this, you need to whip into the back half to get into a mount like this that leaves you in a bind. So I'll do a quick slow-mo right now. So now, once we have whipped in and we're in a mount that looks like this, we're going to take our non-throw hand and insert it into the string just like that. And so we want to insert it into the string that is coming off of our throw hand middle finger, and take it and just push it in and then insert it right up until our thumb. So we don't want to put our whole hand in. We don't want to just put our finger in. We want to put all four fingers up until our thumb just like that, and that's what it should look like. So I'll show you that one more time. Once we're in this mount, these two strings we're going to leave alone, and we're going to take this string that is connected to our throw hand middle finger and insert our hand up until our thumb and kind of pinch with our thumb like that. So once we're in this mount, almost like a double, or actually kind of like a trapeze and his brother mount, we're going to swing off, and we want to kind of swing off onto our thumb, our throw hand thumb, and then we are going to swing over just like a double or nothing over our non-throw hand index finger, and then transfer back over to our index finger, kind of curling like that. We are in this whip, take our throw hand, insert up until our thumb, kind of pull our hands apart. Now we're going to swing over our throw hand index finger, just swing off, and then we're going to grab that string. We don't want to just swing off and let it swing. We want to swing off and then grab this string, this front string, with our throw hand thumb, and then we want to swing over just like a double or nothing. So we're taking our non-throw hand index finger and just placing it into that string and swinging the yo-yo over, and then transferring it back over and curling this finger in. Okay, so once we've got these first steps, we've inserted our finger and we've kind of got into this double or nothing mount, we want to take our hand and we want it to be actually faced palm up just like this. And now this is going to be the most difficult part of the trick, but I'm going to break it down for you guys as best as I possibly can. So our hand, our non-throw hand, we want it facing up towards the sky, or palm up. And we also want our fingers to be kind of in here. We don't want them out here, because if they're here, the trick's not going to work. So palm up and facing inside of this mount. So our fingers are inside of the mount. From there, we just want to take our non-throw hand middle finger and pinch it on that string that is connected to our non-throw hand index finger. And this is going to allow us to be set up for the slack. And we're also going to want to kind of pinch with our thumb just like that. So we're going to have two pinches, but you really want to focus on this pinch between your index finger and your middle finger, because that's going to be the most important when we're doing the slack. So we're pinched here, and we really want to get a nice firm pinch there, because if we don't, it's going to mess up the whole slack. So make it sure it's really nice and tight. And what we want to do from here is drop the string off of our off of our throw hand index finger. We want to drop that string, and as we drop the string, we want to take our non-throw hand and flip it over, while also letting the yo-yo come over our hand, kind of like a double on trapeze. So kind of as if we were doing on this double on trapeze, we also are kind of doing the exact same thing, but also while we're flipping our hand over. So we're swinging the yo-yo over our hand and flipping it over, and that'll get us into that mount. And we want to do that all in one fluid motion, so we're not dropping it and then swinging over. We want to drop the string off of our throw hand and swing over all at the same time. But you'll notice that it gets us into this mount, which isn't exactly where we want to be. So there's kind of one more step to this slack portion. And the last step is, once we get over here, we need to give the yo-yo, this slack here, enough momentum to kind of carry over, because we want the slack to actually be on our hand so that we can finish off with the last part of the trick. And so the way we are going to do that is we are going to simply give the slack a little bit of a nudge as it comes around. So once it gets around, we want to give it just a little bit more momentum, and it's kind of like just this simple little like motion like that, where it's really nothing that is too noticeable, but we're just giving the yo-yo, because the slack is going to have momentum as it's coming around. So we just want to give it a little bit of a swing, just like that, kind of swinging the yo-yo up, and that'll carry the slack with it, and that'll allow it to get all the way up there. So I'll show you that one more time. We are pinching on both of these fingers, and then we are dropping the string off of our throw hand and swinging the yo-yo over our non-throw hand and flipping our hand at the same time, and then giving that slack just a little bit of a nudge so that it can get onto our non-throw hand. So once we get the yo-yo into that position where we have the slack on our non-throw hand just like this, all we are doing is taking our throw hand and pulling it out, and that will allow the slack to go into the gap of the yo-yo, and you just drop the string off of your thumb, and that'll leave you in a trapeze. So a few problems that you can have with this trick is that the slack that is coming around is too small. So if it looks like this, it might be too small and it's not able to get into the gap of the yo-yo. So a couple of solutions is, number one, you could just use a longer string, but that's not really a great solution. So a solution that you can use is to have the yo-yo a little bit closer to your non-throw hand. So you need to kind of balance it out with these two steps of where it's not hitting your non-throw hand, but it's also having a large enough slack. So probably a good space is about the middle, but if your string's a little bit shorter or longer, you might need to adjust it to where it works for you. So you need to kind of figure out where on this double or nothing mount it really works for you, where you're not hitting your hand and you're also having a big enough slack to carry around to get this last whip part. One more thing that can happen as you're doing this whip portion, or the slack portion I should say, is that the slack kind of starts to slip out of your finger. And now if that happens, it's just going to mess up the whole slack. And so really all you need to do if that is happening is that you need to pinch on your index finger and your middle finger harder so that it doesn't slip it down, because if it slips down, then you're going to lose your slack and it's just going to mess up the whole trick. So you need to merely make sure that you're getting that really kind of strong pinch with those two fingers, and that'll allow for the slack to come around, and it'll just be a lot easier. One more thing I want to talk about is flow with this trick. So this trick, if you simply do it in these kind of like choppy motions like this, it's really not going to look very good. So what we want to do is we want to allow each element to flow into the next one. So what I mean by that is, as we land into this, we already want to get our non-throw hand in there with our thumb just like that. We already want to be doing that. So as you notice right here, as I kind of do this, my hand's already in there. And once my hand's in, before my hand's even in, I'm already swinging off. And right when I get here, you're doing that slack portion. So you're not going to wait for each element. You're not going to do that, and then that, and just swing over, because that doesn't look very good. Now, as you're just learning it, it'll probably be easier to just do it in those kind of increments. But as you get better with the elements, you really want to try your best to kind of allow them to flow within each other, and that'll make the trick just look way better. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to do it for my tutorial of the Casper Slack. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, and all that good stuff. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.